regard to your question about women, I think anybody who looks at the situation in India today will see that women are participating in every walk of national life and national enterprise. We have had women at the highest level of our politics. One of India's most popular and powerful prime ministers was a woman who held office for nearly a decade and a half. We've had a woman who has been president of India. We've had a woman who's been the speaker of the lower house of parliament. But this is the political field. Even in the commercial field, if you look today, women are present, and not only present everywhere, they are in positions of power everywhere. Curiously, if you look at the banking sector in India, practically every single bank, major bank, whether it is in the government sector or in the private sector, is led by a woman. So, in the field of sports as well, an Indian woman, for example, and it's a curious coincidence that the world #1 in badminton and the world #1 in tennis, doubles tennis, are both Indian women, Sania Mirza and Saina Nehwal. So the progress that women have made over the years in India has been phenomenal. There is no doubt about the fact that for historical and other reasons, the social position of women had suffered somewhat in India, but given the reforms that have taken place, social, educational, health-related reforms that have taken place, women are at the center of government's policy. To improve their conditions is what government is focused on. To give you a very small but a very recent example, the finance minister has introduced in the last budget certain reforms whereby banks offer the highest interest rate on deposits to those parents who are making a deposit or an investment in the name of their girl child. So it's not based on any economic criteria, such a financial decision, but it is based on a social criteria. So I would say that from a difficult beginning, women in India have come a very, very long way.
El señor embajador dice que la India está progresando y en la participación de la mujer no es solo en el ámbito político, por ejemplo, que tuvimos un primer ministro que fue una mujer, pero en todos los ámbitos, como en empresas grandes, pueden ser bancos o grandes empresas, y en primer lugar también en el deporte. Últimamente, pues en el tenis también estamos avanzando y son las mujeres las que están jugando el mejor deporte en tenis. Antes era así, pero la India sí está avanzando y está trabajando en ello para que la mujer pueda avanzar también. Ha dado un ejemplo sobre lo último, dice que todos los padres que hacen una inversión en sus hijas obtienen mejores beneficios para ellas. Cada padre que invierte, hace una inversión en su hija, hembra, obtiene más beneficios.
With regard to your second question about the caste, now it's important in the first place to have a very good understanding of what caste is. And even today, despite decades of research, historians are not in agreement on what constitutes caste and what exactly it means. But what we can agree on is that caste is a fact of social and religious organization in India. It is a method of social organization which I would say is not very different from the methods of social organization of societies that were found in the West. Ancient Greece and Rome, for example, had slavery. In Europe, you had the guild system. knights and serfs. In the United States, you had slavery, the last vestiges of which were removed only 150 years ago. Caste has to be understood in the context of the antiquity of Indian society. But what is the role of caste in the modern Indian society, which is a more relevant question for us? I think that to the extent that caste provides stability and predictability in social organization, it is still perhaps followed by many sections of Indian society. But to the extent that there were negative influences and negative aspects that crept into the practice of the caste system, these have now explicitly been forbidden by the Indian Constitution and by law. So therefore, anybody who tries to use caste as a basis for discrimination is liable for punishment under Indian law. So there are these two aspects that we must learn to distinguish in between. Of course, many people often say that caste forces you to marry within your own caste. Yes, it is a fact that in many families, the preference is sometimes to marry people from within your own caste. But that doesn't mean that you can't marry outside your caste. In fact, inter-caste and inter-religious marriages are on the rise in India. So one needs to distinguish between what the ancient system was and how it operates today. So there is that necessity to understand the system first before casting judgment on it.
Es importante saber qué es la casta. Después de mucha investigación no saben exactamente lo que es. Dice que sabemos que es una organización social en la India. Se puede diferenciar en la esclavitud que existía antes, los caballeros, dependiendo de los países, lo que habían. La casta provee estabilidad a la sociedad hindú. Antes eran usadas para discriminar, y las personas que sí discriminan en el presente son penalizadas o castigadas. También se dice que hay que casarse con la misma casta, pero eso no te prohíbe casarte fuera de tu casta. Te puedes casar con una persona que no es de tu misma religión. No está prohibido. Lo que hay que saber es distinguir en lo de antes, la casta de antes, y lo de la casta moderna, lo que es hoy.